Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Excuse me. Welcome to The Next Show Will Be Better. It's the live show that we do every Tuesday here at the Hicksondiaries at 8 p.m., as you guys know, because you're here. Yeah. I'm glad you guys are all here. It's going to be a little bit of a rough one today. I'm just letting you know I am extremely tired and a little bit grouchy because I'm tired. So I'm trying to get through it. We'll get through it. It'll be all right. It'll be okay. Yeah, we have a good show. We're going to do a bunch of reacts today, to some random stuff and see what's going on. Catch you guys up on what's happening in the world from my point of view, my little tiny little corner of the world. And I want to see what's going on with you guys too. So make sure you send in all of your chats, questions, comments, concerns, etc. We'll go through them as we go. And if you have any suggestions about something you want to talk about or something you want to see me react to, or you guys want to see with me, just let me know. If you're not interested in chatting with us, that's fine. Appreciate you viewing and hanging out with us anyway, and I hope you have a good time. Sorry. I'm so tired because I'm really, really tired because the past few days at work, we're implementing a new system at work. And even though this has been planned for a very, very long time, it hasn't really been planned. And it's a bit chaotic. And a lot of the background stuff that was supposed to have been done wasn't done, or it wasn't done properly. So I've been basically sitting at work for 2 to 3 days doing nothing. Now, most people will be okay with that, but I just can't. I'm in work mode and I have to do something, and it's frustrating and it tires me out because I get myself all anxious and worked up because I'm like, I'm wasting time and I hate wasting time. So I'm very tired because it's just been a really rough couple days at work. And I'm really frustrated and kind of at the end of my rope with this job, to be honest. But anyway, let's see what we got. Let's see if anyone's in the chat. Chris couldn't make it tonight. He had something he had to take care of, so let's just make sure we send him all good vibes, okay? Make sure everybody's cool. Hi, Sam K. Thanks for joining. Hi, Manny. Thank you for joining as well. So, Manny, you're watching the Arsenal Newcastle game. Oh, well, thank you for fitting me in. I know it's probably an important game. I have no idea if it's an important game or not, but I know you're an Arsenal fan, so it must be important to you. Perhaps make a coffee. You know what? I actually, I wanted to cut down on caffeine this year. So I actually gave up having coffee and I was doing really good. And today I broke down in the middle of the day and I had a coffee because I couldn't get through the rest of the day if I didn't. I literally sat in the break room by myself and drank my coffee, which I normally would not do. I'd normally just go back to my desk. But I was like, I'm being forced to be in the office, even on the days that I'm allowed to work from home. I'm being forced to be in the office, and I was told, bring a book because we don't have work for you. Why do I need to be there? You guys have heard about my work sagas before, but oh my goodness. It's just frustrating because I know I'm at the end. I'm coming to the end of my contract. I know they're not going to offer me a job or anything. I don't know how I would I mean, I would consider any offer, but I don't know how I would sit with it anyway. And, I'm ready, like mentally ready to move on. So I think I just need to, I don't know, I just need to do something to get through. But I have been getting some behind the scenes work done on the channel. And it's also like chaotic because not just because we're implementing a new system and a lot of people don't know what they're doing. We also have a bunch of people in from the corporate office in Europe. So there's like twice as many people in the office. So it's twice as loud. And there's people like just putting stuff on my desk and using my desk without asking or acknowledging that I'm sitting there, and they're just using my desk. And it's just ah. Anyway, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Manny. I know I do look tired. I know. I put some makeup on, but it didn't help. There's nothing I can do. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it, Manny. Yeah, if you guys hit the like button, that would help me out a lot. And if you're watching this on the replay later, then if you guys can make sure that you hit the like button, consider subscribing if you're not already, hit the share. If you think there's someone who might enjoy this, that would be cool too. So I was thinking also about what I was going to do tonight, and the last live stream, was it the last live stream that was the New Year's Eve live stream, right? It was, right? Yeah. I'm all right. Yeah, the last live stream was New Year's Eve live stream. If y'all missed it, because know Sam and Manny were there. If you guys missed it, it was like a 3-hour long live stream. Because I got a little bit tipsy. Oh, it was fun though. It was a lot of fun. So after the live stream ended, I went downstairs and we were watching the Hootenanny, which I had never heard of before. I didn't know any of the artists that were on it, but it was fun. And we rang in the new year, and then I called it a night. I woke up the next day. I had a headache and a little bit of nausea. So I had a vanilla ice cream sundae and some Diet Coke. And then I felt better. And then I just had the I don't know if you guys have this, if everyone is like this, but you get the munchies, like the hangover munchies, where I could not stop eating crap for the whole day. I was like, oh, my diet. But I went right back on my diet the next day. But it was fun. I don't do it often, so it's okay. I don't have like a whole day of cheating and a whole night of drinking the night before normally. So it was okay. It was fun though, and I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys for a longer period of time and just kind of going with the flow and just chit chatting. That was fun. Definitely going to do some stuff like that again in the future because I really enjoyed that. I hope you guys did too. You seem to, because a lot of you hung out with me for the entire time. So I hope everybody else had a good, safe, and happy new year. And 2025 is going well so far. So I have one thing I do have to talk about that's pretty serious, and then we'll get into some fun stuff. Yesterday was January 6th, and I'm sure a lot of you know, but in case you don't, 4 years ago, when the presidential election was held in 2020, and they were supposed to certify the results of the election on January 6th. It's in the Constitution to do it on January the 6th. There was an attempted overthrow of our government on that day 4 years ago by a whole slew of Trump supporters. And they were unsuccessful. President Biden became president. But 4 years exactly, which is a presidential term in America, 4 years exactly later, they certified election results for Donald Trump to take the presidency in 2 weeks. Kind of ironic. I don't know. I'm really nervous about the state of America, mainly because people, I love still live there, but also because it does affect the rest of the world. And I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see it ending well. But anyways, I just thought that was ironic, and I couldn't not at least mention it, that a convicted felon is going to be our next president and probably going to tank the economy. Brace yourself, guys. Maybe I'm wrong. But I wasn't wrong the first time. That's all I have to say. I knew he would screw everything up the first time, and he did, so. But anyways, I want to talk to you about this. This is funny. It's going to seem like it's not funny, but just stay with me. So I'm watching this series on Netflix called Meet, Marry, Murder. And it's all about these people that get into these like domestic violent they get into these relationships and it turns into domestic violence after they're married. And unfortunately, one or both partners ends up dead at the end of the relationship. And it's set up in America. There's American stories and then there's British stories as well. So I thought it would be interesting to see it in a compare and contrast. So I'm watching this series, and it's also like it's set up to be preventative so that people can see signs of abusive relationships, and it goes into like the psyche of the abuser and things like that. And apparently there's been an increase in like male victims in this type of scenario. So I found that really interesting, and I wanted to watch it for those reasons. Anyway, so I was watching an episode the other day, and it was placed in America, and the police get to the scene and they do their thing, the scene. And I thought this perfectly illustrated how incompetent American police can be. So they get to the scene, they do whatever they're supposed to be doing with the scene. Then they get contacted by a relative who claims to be a psychic, and they tell the police that the police need to look under this one particular chair to find something very important for this case. First of all, how come they didn't look under the chair anyway? Secondly, they go look under the chair, and there's the revolver, the gun that was used in the murder. So my first instinct was somebody placed it there to be found, right? Like after the fact or something. That's what I thought. I didn't think that any cops could be that incompetent in a murder scene. Then later in the story, there was two brothers of the victim that wanted to get into the house for some reason. So they broke in and they found some letters of evidence that the person who committed the act was having an affair. Again, if the police were investigating this, how did they not find it? How did another two relatives that had to get into the house broke into the house and they found them? Then it's so fucking bizarre. The whole thing is so bizarre. Then later, it resides as a cold case for like 2 to 3 years. Okay, they can't gather enough evidence to convict the person, right? After a couple of years, the the victim, another relative, I think an ex partner, has a parrot, and the parrot starts talking and says, "Don't effing shoot! Don't effing shoot!" So they literally take a statement from the parrot, like they record the parrot, they send it to the police use it as like a statement, and that was apparently enough to arrest the person and convict them. So the police literally did like nothing. The family all gathered around and figured out all of these pieces to convict this person. I don't know if they really did it or not, based on some of the stuff that I saw on what the relationship was like ahead of time. I think they probably did, but I just found it really bizarre and hilarious in a sense, and sad in a sense, that these random people got involved and that a parrot and a psychic and a break-in ended up solving the case. It's hilarious when you see the British, some of the British stories, and you're like, wait, that's how it's supposed to be done. That's how it's like, it's very methodical, it's very meticulous, the way the British police force like goes through each statement, the questions they ask, and how they gather the evidence and everything. And it's like a free for all in America. I'm like, what is the state of this country? And people ask me, why did you leave? Oh my gosh. Anyway, I know that's kind of random and it took a weird turn, but I had to share that. I just found that extremely ironic and poignant and hilarious all at the same time. Very crazy. I mean, what other police force would take the statement of a parrot? Anyway, y'all should watch it. It's funny. It's not funny. Oh my god, I didn't mean it like that. It's not funny. That part of the episode is funny. The whole thing is really horrible, actually. And I'm literally sitting there with my daughter and be like, if that ever happens, call me. Giving her pointers, making sure she could see the signs. But the whole series itself overall is terrible and horrible and really gut-wrenching. But that part, I was like, that episode, I was like, what? I was all like invested. I was like, oh my god, this poor person, like they have to get him. You know what? It was brutal too. They were shot a lot, and I was all of a sudden a psychic comes in, and there's people breaking in, finding letters, and there's a parrot breaking the case, and I was like, what the? Only in America. Anyways, yeah, January 6th was a very dark day. I was working from home, and I got there's a news channel, it's a YouTube channel, but they do American news, and I got a notification that they were going live in the middle of the day, which was very unusual. So I was like, oh, there must be something going on, thinking like there's a weather catastrophe or something like that was happening. And I turn it on and they're showing me footage of like, I can watch it happening live. And I was like, holy shit. Like, what the hell is happening? I was scared because we just didn't know they didn't have a plan at the time. So I was just like, why are they like, oh, it was for an hour or so where we didn't really know what was happening. And there was people with guns and people going through all of the documents and everything that were on the floor and going through people's offices. And it's just not something you want to see. And remember, if you remember, this is coming off of, a summer or so, a year or so of like riots and heavily violent protests that were happening in America. And it was just not a good time. It was a very unrestful time, and I hope it doesn't happen again. Fingers crossed. That's an interesting comment, Sam. It's a very, very sharp tangent E-scooters need banning. On the way back from the store, a guy flew past me and I almost knocked me down. I'm not a fan of e-scooters either, but it might just because I'm accident prone and I'm nervous about like being. I don't know that I could ever be on it. I think I'd be nervous that I'd just fall off constantly. I haven't even ridden a bike in a long time. I'd probably need another lesson or two. I think I could get the hang of it. But the e-scooter, they do go faster than you think they're going, right? Like, I don't know. I suppose it's easy to control once you get the hang of it, just like anything else. But it is weird. Like, you don't realize, or you don't expect, I guess, is the right word. Sorry, I'm tired. Slow today. You wouldn't expect motorized vehicles to be on the sidewalk, and a lot of e-scooters are ridden on the sidewalks. So I get you. I hope you're right, though, Sam. You're here, so I'm going to assume you're okay, but I hope you're all right. You didn't drop the eggs, did you? Hello, Mick MacArthur. Thank you for joining. It wasn't like compare the murder. It was more like compare the police department, because the police. There's so many stories on the American versions where the police were incompetent in some way or they missed something, and I was just like, how? It's your job is to gather evidence. That's your job. It's your whole job. A detective gathers evidence, puts it together, follows the story. That's your job. How do you miss it? How do you miss letters and a gun? And almost all of the British ones were done by knife, and almost all of the American ones were done by firearm. And just for a public service announcement, since I started with a dark story, in case you or loved one ever is in that situation, when an abuser says, I'm going to kill myself if you leave me, or something like that, that means that they're probably going to harm the other person first. And if your loved one is the abused person, the victim, make sure that they want to leave, they never tell the person. They never tell the abuser, because that's when it gets really awful. So just a public service for everybody. And that's in all sincerity and all seriousness, because those were facts that I learned watching this series. So please look out for people, and if they want to leave, make sure they know not to tell the abuser, because that's when they're going to flip their lid in most cases. And if they ever say anything about killing themselves, then that's a big red flag to get out. Anyway, Thomas Lee, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. And thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam, for getting him to come. I don't know how you did it, but I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here, Tomas. Wait, the guy was dressed like a ninja? So a ninja was on an e-scooter and almost knocked you over as you were walking home from the store? Or is it maybe it was just like me, who just always dresses in black? Oh. Oh boy. Oof, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. No, but I do highly recommend. It's called Meet, Marry, Murder. I highly recommend it. There's some that are some older cases, and then there's some recent cases. And like I said, they flip back and forth between America and the UK. It's actually really interesting. So I was thinking, I'm trying to cheer us up, trying to do something a little bit more fun. So, thank you, Tomas. Greetings from Sweden. That's great. Thank you. You know, Sam, I did try to promote on Discord for a while, and I wasn't really wasn't really getting any traction, so I stopped. I don't know. I could try it again now that we've picked up some momentum, but the parrot did it. The parrot did it. Yeah, the parrot picked up the gun and shot the victim. But it was funny because the victim, I hate saying funny because it's obviously someone lost their life. It was terrible. But the parrot was actually saying, the person was saying, "Don't effing shoot. Don't effing shoot," was exactly what the parrot was saying. He was saying the word F out, which I can't say. I can say it because I don't want to say it. Don't fucking shoot. That's what the parrot was saying. So obviously the victim was saying, "Don't fucking shoot," like 5 or 6 times, right, for the parrot to pick it up. It's just it was weird to hear it from a parrot's mouth, and it was the whole episode was just so bizarre. I had to share it. I don't know why. I just felt it. Oh, don't worry, Tomas. I'm sorry. I'm saying it with a Spanish accent. My apologies. That's my influence and background. Don't worry about your English being slow. Take your time. And if I'm talking too fast, just ask me to slow my ass down. I do talk too fast, which is why I'm trying my new style with my videos to slow down and be a little bit more deliberate about what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. Dual streaming. I don't know what that is, but I'll look into it. Thanks, Sam. Yeah. So I was trying to think of some things that we could do that would cheer me up. And usually talking to you guys pretty much cheers me up, to be honest. But I have I have 2 videos that I pulled up. I have 15 idiots messing with royal guards who instantly regret it. And I have the rest of them aren't funny. Well, you guys might find some of it funny. I don't know. The rest of them are not that funny. Let's start with the funny one. And I'll see if I can find another funny one on the way. Sorry. All right. 15 idiots messing with the royal guard who instantly regret it by Top Master.
He's doing his job. Don't be an idiot.
You can't do nothing.
Tourists flock to Buckingham Palace to catch a glimpse of the royal guards, known for their immaculate uniforms and statue-like composure. With their unwavering stares and stiff postures,
Stand clear! Stand clear!
they almost seem like figures in a museum display, frozen in time. But these guards aren't just decorations for tourist selfies. They're highly trained soldiers on duty, and messing with them is a big mistake.
Oh, look at that arrested.
Look, I always found it weird that people would mess with these guys. Like, I don't know why it's considered funny, or it's considered like, why do people think it's okay? Like, it's not okay. They're like that for a reason, and they're there for a reason. So I'm actually interested in seeing what these arrogant jerks do and how they get their comeuppance.
Join us as we dive into the stories of 15 people who tried messing with the royal guards and instantly regretted it.
Get back to the Queen's Guard!
15.
Okay, could you imagine if you're from a country where guns are like not a thing, right? And like you do something like that and that in your face. Oh my god, I would have shit my pants probably.
Girl throws a glove. This girl was very entitled when she thought she was so important that a royal guard would break his composure to fetch her glove. She was at the palace, so
If you have an hour this week, you can learn 100 songs on the piano.
Surrounded by tourists who'd come to admire the guards in their iconic uniforms. But instead of watching respectfully, she decided to throw her glove at the feet of a royal guard, expecting him to retrieve it. Maybe she thought it'd be fun.
Right, that's a super, super entitled thing to do. Ugh, I don't like her already.
Funny. Or maybe she just didn't realize how seriously these guards take their duty.
I think from an I'm only going to speak from an American perspective, obviously. That's kind of what I do on this channel. But anyway, I think Americans tend to think it's like not real, like it's a touristy thing, and that it's not like real guards or a real place where things happen that needs to be guarded. Like I know a lot of Americans that would definitely think like if this was in America, it would be like a fake version of it. So they expect that it's not 100% real and authentic, which is extremely arrogant as well. And disrespectful. Like it's not just disrespectful to like the crown or the culture, but to the person who's trying to do their friggin' job. Anyway.
Either way, her plan fell flat in the most awkward way possible. The guard, of course, didn't budge an inch. His training prepared him to ignore distractions, even ones as bold as a glove landing right in front of him. He just continued scanning the crowd, focused and unfazed, as if her little joke hadn't even happened. Meanwhile, she stood there, waiting with a mix of surprise and growing embarrassment. The onlookers, probably feeling second-hand embarrassment for her, watched in silence as she began to realize her mistake. But here's where things got even better. The glove landed.
I predict she's going to try to retrieve it and something's going to happen.
In a restricted zone, meaning she couldn't just hop over and pick it up herself. She stood there, hoping someone would help. Finally, a senior guard, who clearly had seen it all, stepped in. With all the patience he could muster, he retrieved her glove and handed it back, his expression making it clear he wasn't amused. She mumbled her thanks, red-faced, and made a quick exit.
Oh, that's shit. I would have much rather him be like, too bad. It now belongs to the queen. Or the monarch.
14. Royal Punch. No one learned a tougher lesson than this man who thought it'd be clever to taunt a queen's guard. It happened on a cold day as tourists, bundled in winter coats, watched in admiration while the queen's
Those tourists are not bundled in winter coats. I'm just saying.
guard, dressed in their striking red uniforms, iconic bearskin hats, and polished boots,
I would not be surprised if that guy's American.
performed their routine inspection at Wellington Barracks. This inspection is a tradition, ensuring the soldiers uphold the precision and dignity expected at state events. But amidst this disciplined display, an unexpected interruption occurred. A heckler, full of nerve, decided to push his luck a little too far. This man started taunting one of the guards, probably thinking he'd get a reaction. He clearly underestimated the discipline of these soldiers, except this time, he pushed it way too far. After enduring the taunts, one guard finally snapped. In one swift, controlled motion, he threw a punch, knocking the troublemaker.
Oh, that guy before too. That guy was like trying to stop him too. He saw that it was coming. Oh, would he get in trouble for that? The guard? Would the guard get in trouble for punching him? I feel like he probably would because he's not supposed to react, right? But he's human at the end of the day, right? Oh.
Out cold. The crowd gasped, stunned at the sight of the taunter sprawled on the ground, regretting his decision in the blink of an eye. That punch was a reminder that these guards aren't just ceremonial figures, they're highly trained soldiers with real skills. Meanwhile, the other guards carried on with their inspection, overseen by Major General Ben Bathurst and the no-nonsense garrison sergeant, Major Andrew Stokes. For that overconfident heckler, the event wasn't just a ceremonial display, it was a hard-learned lesson that the Queen's Guard is not to be messed with.
I'm sorry. I normally don't. I don't condone violence in any way. I think it's never the answer unless it's self-defense. But I completely understand why that guy snapped. Oh, that guy would have annoyed me. And he was like, people around him were saying, "Back off, bro."
13. Guy tries to pick a fight with royal guards. Regardless of the state of mind, trying to pick a fight with a royal guard is bound to be a regrettable decision. But one tourist in Oslo thought otherwise. Strolling up to the palace guards in Norway, he seemed to think they were there purely for photo ops and fun. Now, these guards might stand at attention with plumed hats and pristine uniforms. But don't let that fool you. They're fully trained and highly disciplined soldiers.
That's the other thing that I think makes a lot of these, again, from an American point of view, I guarantee a lot of them are American. I can just feel it. But like there's a lot of countries in Europe, and I would think probably other places as well outside of Europe that have these types of guards, right? Like they had them in Greece, they had them in Italy. They're everywhere. It's not an unusual thing in these parts, right? But it is in America, and I think America doesn't realize that it definitely don't realize it's as serious as it is, and they don't realize that like it's not just Britain, right? It's not just like the traditional thing that you think of with the tall black hat and everything. It's not like, even though you see people making fun of it and playing around with the guards like in movies and stuff, that's why they think it's okay. But I mean, why would you go to someone else's country and disrespect them like that? Oh, I can't with people.
This guy missed that memo and decided to challenge the guards, squaring up to them like he'd win a street fight. Things went south fast. As soon as he stepped over the line, the guards didn't flinch or hesitate.
So what's stopping you from going all in with him or money?
With professional calm and precision, they immobilized him in seconds, making it clear they weren't up for his game. The crowd, initially amused by his antics, quickly fell silent as they watched him get detained. By now, he must have been realizing just how out of his depth he was. After being detained, he had the audacity to try and walk away as if nothing had happened, like he'd just been asked to leave a cafe for being too loud. But the Norwegian guards weren't about to let him off that easily. After all, their job isn't to play tour guide or provide comic relief. He was swiftly handed over to local authorities.
That's their job, is to deal with people who are like a threat in some way. You go up to someone and start threatening them, whether they're in uniform or not, and don't expect them to react, and then you just walk away as if like they were being the bitch. Ugh, people.
Who ensured he'd learned a lesson in respect he likely won't forget. 12. Royal Guard scares a man. What I love the most is to see someone who has been spoiled be returned to his place by the Royal Guard with a single move.
Oh, I second that one. I second the announcer's his comments 100%.
It's almost a guarantee that on every school excursion, at least one kid will think they're cooler than everyone else and try to mess with the guard. One morning, a particularly fancy royal guard was stationed at the entrance. Tourists lined up, patiently waiting for their turn to snap a picture with the imposing figure. And then, of course, came the show-off. This kid stepped up, and instead of a respectful photo, he started flashing gang signs, putting on his best tough guy face.
That guy is
Next to
there's no way that guy's in a gang at all. No way.
the guard. Maybe he thought he was doing something original, or maybe he believed it was hilarious. Without moving an inch from his stance, the guard gave a sharp, echoing stomp. The sound startled everyone, but especially our wannabe gang.
Oh, that'll
gangster. In a split second, his cool demeanor melted into complete panic as he jumped back. The guard's expression remained unchanged, a stone-cold stare that made it crystal clear who was really in charge here. Not a word was said, but the message hit home. There's no playing around with royal guards. The kid tried to brush it off, looking sheepish as he quickly exited the photo line. Other tourists watched the whole thing unfold, some stifling smiles, others shooting him disapproving looks. He probably wished he'd just smiled for a nice photo like everyone else. 11. Don't touch the reins. The only
That's the other thing, right? When you're on horseback, like people will go up and like pet the horse. We have lots of horses in New York. They do a lot of like horse-drawn carriage kind of rides and stuff like that and around the city. And there's always people that just go up and start like petting the horse and like playing with the horse. It's not your horse. Like you don't just go up to an animal and start playing around with it. What is wrong with you? And they especially wouldn't do it with like the army or police were there. Like, who knows what's going on? Jesus.
thing that is more interesting to tourists
Why are people so dumb?
than a fancy royal guard is a royal guard with a horse. There's hardly
It clearly says, beware, horses may kick or bite. Because they're animals.
a tourist who doesn't want that perfect picture next to one of these magnificent creatures. But some people get a bit too eager, and that's where the trouble starts. At Buckingham Palace, there's a big, clear sign warning visitors to keep their distance from the horse's reins. But apparently, one tourist thought that didn't apply to her. The reins looked so close, so she couldn't resist. Just as her fingers brushed against them, the guard's voice cut through the air, loud and unmistakable. "Do not touch the reins!" She jumped back. Most people would have taken the hint, but not her. She took a breath, casually edging closer, camera still in hand, clearly determined to snap the perfect shot. The guard issued a second, more forceful warning, reminding her to stay back. Ignoring both instructions, she approached a third time. By now,
What is wrong with this woman? How entitled do you feel?
other tourists noticed the situation, watching as she disregarded the guard's warnings. The guard then firmly shouted for her to step away, and it became clear to everyone that she had overstepped.
Stand clear! Stand clear!
Instead of a quick photo, she ended up drawing attention for repeatedly ignoring instructions.
Let me tell you, that voice, I would probably wet myself. That's it. I get chills listening to it. How do you go up to someone a third? They told you twice to walk away. What's wrong with you?
10.
That's going to be my tagline for today's show. What is wrong with you?
Angry royal guard. When a grown man decides to play the fool in front of a royal guardsman, he might think he's in for a few laughs. But when that stoic, unflinching soldier breaks silence to put him in his place, it's a whole new kind of show. At the entrance of London's St. James's Palace, a tourist found out the hard way what happens when you push the patience of a Scots guardsman. These guards are known for their legendary self-discipline, maintaining strict composure no matter what antics visitors pull. But even the steadiest professionals have their limits. The man thought it would be clever to start dancing right up at the palace gate, putting on an odd little routine that probably seemed much funnier in his head. Shimmying, wiggling, and trying his best to get a reaction, he clearly expected the guards to just let him dance away without any issue. Instead, one of the guards suddenly broke his stoic stance, unleashing a stern, booming shout in a thick,
There are 3 simple changes I tell.
Sorry about all of the ads, guys. I need an ad blocker or something.
Eve how dehydrated.
Scottish accent that left no room for misinterpretation. "Move along!" The tourist's reaction was priceless, stunned, embarrassed, and genuinely bewildered, as if
Guys, these have been the guards for like hundreds, if not thousands of years, right? They've been around forever. They know what they're doing. You're some rando tourist is not like, who do you think you are? What's wrong with you?
If he hadn't expected his jokes to have consequences. Meanwhile, the other guardsman stood by with an amused glint in his eye, content to let his partner handle the situation. No need for a tag team takedown. One shout was enough to send the tourist packing, looking red-faced.
He was ready, though. The partner was ready. Do you see that? He shifted his weight and everything. He was ready to go if he needed to. That shit's awesome.
And regretful. 9. Get off the fence. If you're a parent and want to visit London with your children, the first thing you should teach them is to respect boundaries, especially when it comes to the Royal Guards. These guards are known for their stoic presence and impeccable discipline, and they're not exactly there to be your personal entertainers. But on New Year's Day 2012, some kids apparently missed the memo, and one guard took matters into his own hands, delivering a lesson in respect they wouldn't forget. It all started with a group of boys.
Just look at that gun. All right? I grew up around in a culture where there's guns like that around all the time. And I would be scared as hell of that person. Is it maybe people who don't grow up around the guns, or I don't know. Maybe I guess I could imagine if people don't have them in their culture and they don't have a gun culture like that where they're used to seeing it, they might think it's like a prop and not real. It's like a toy, I guess. But come on, control your kids.
Giggling and fooling around by the fence near the guard's post. They likely thought they were just having harmless fun, getting a laugh by teasing the silent, unflinching soldier. But what they didn't expect was for the guard to respond. In a calm yet commanding voice, he said, "Get off the fence." Wide-eyed and startled, the boys jumped back. For them, this might have been just a game, but the guard's one-liner hit hard. It was a wake-up call, making them realize that this wasn't the place for their tricks.
He was in his face as well. He was like in his face. Good. Control your kids.
Not only did he stop their harmless fun, but he also made an impression that would probably stick. The guard's quick response was nothing short of professional. He didn't scare them senseless, but he showed that even in silence, boundaries exist and should be respected.
Yeah. Now you not teach your
8.
kids that.
Guard shouts. If you thought we were done with videos of rude children on field trips, you were wrong. This group of young tourists, possibly on a school trip, was waiting in line to see the historic castle. But instead of admiring the beauty around them, they're more entertained by the royal guard on duty, patrolling with his usual perfect posture and precise steps. Instead of respecting the setting, they burst out laughing, finding the guard's serious demeanor somehow hilarious. One tourist took it even further by crouching down, attempting to make eye contact with the guard, while another laughed so hard she nearly fell over. For them, it was all fun and games until the guard snapped. What was the tipping point, you ask? Surprisingly, it wasn't their
His hand going under the thing, probably. I bet you it was his hand encroaching in the space.
mocking laughter. It was something simpler. A girl in the group had been leaning on the rope that marks the waiting area, and that was the final straw.
Yeah.
In a booming voice, the guard commanded, "Get off the rope!"
Get off the road!
Their laughter quickly faded into silence, and you could almost see the shock on their faces. The awkward silence that followed said it all. Maybe next time.
Look at her face. She's like, oh, yes, sir.
These tourists will remember that some places.
Dude, if my kid ever did something like that, whether it's on a field trip or anything, she would be in trouble. I would be so livid.
Demand a bit of respect, or at least enough decency to keep their hands off the rope. 7. Instant regret. Among 15 idiots who messed with the Royal Guards and instantly regretted it, today's subscriber pick will surely shock you. This woman probably thought she could do whatever she wanted. I'm glad the guard showed her otherwise.
Why would you touch him? Why would you touch them? I wouldn't go up to any stranger and touch them. What's wrong with you?
She approached him, shouting in his face, likely expecting to provoke some reaction or movement. Honestly, it's disappointing to see behavior like this from a grown woman. When her initial attempt didn't work, she took it a step further, determined to make him react. She even tried heading toward the palace courtyard entrance, forcing the guard to intervene, as he must protect the family, whether it's from tourists or genuine threats. He issued a warning, but when she sat down in defiance, refusing to move, he had no choice but to drag her back by her hair to the crowd. If you were in his position, what would you have done? 6.
Honestly, she sat there. He told her to leave and she sat down. I'm kind of on his side on that one. Why would you just sit down? Like, what makes you think that you can go into some foreign country or foreign place and just act like it's your freaking living room? What's wrong with people? All right, I thought it was going to be funny, but it's making me angry. But it could be because I'm a little grouchy.
Silly dance. Actress Ada Sharma, known for her playful nature, recently found herself at the center of a social media storm after she posted a video dancing next to a British royal guard at Windsor Castle. Her quirky attempt to entertain her fans didn't sit well with everyone, with many calling it the worst tourist behavior and disrespect.
Yeah, like, come on. You should know better.
Respectful. In the viral clip, Ada is seen grooving to her.
Have you heard of the term? It is a below market.
A Bollywood hit, Shake It Like Chamois, moving enthusiastically while the guard, dressed in traditional attire and bearing an expression of intense focus, stands nearby. As she continues to perform, the guard suddenly marches off, leaving her a bit flustered, a reaction that some find funny, but others find inappropriate. Netizens, quick to react, filled the comment sections with critiques, claiming her actions were not only disruptive, but also played into stereotypes of loud and disrespectful tourists. Ada often shares humorous videos and enjoys connecting with her fans through light-hearted content. But this time, the response was far from her.
Okay, the minute he stomped his foot, she knew she did something wrong. Duh! Don't post it. Like, you don't have to post it. And it's fine. You can do all kinds of content. I mean, I'm a content creator. You can do all kinds of stuff and put it out there. But don't be disrespectful. Not only do you look disrespectful, but you look like an idiot. And you're telling people that it's okay to do that. Like, your followers, it's okay for them to go and do that. And they could get seriously hurt, like being dragged off by their hair or being punched in the face.
Her usual support. People pointed out how
Have some friggin' responsibility with your actions.
such actions contribute to stereotypes about Indian tourists abroad, making it a touchy subject. Social media buzzed with comments, and Bollywood's well-known
It's not just Indian tourists.
photographer Viral Bayani even reposted the video, bringing in more views and critiques. Currently, Ada is on a break from acting, with her last appearance being in Commando 3. This controversy has sparked quite a debate about the fine line between fun and respect in travel behavior. So, while the actress probably didn't expect such a strong reaction, her video serves as a reminder that, in public spaces, a little extra awareness might go a long way.
Look at the weapon he's carrying. What's wrong?
5. Get back. The following footage shows a royal guard who is both angry and calm at the same time. If you think the two don't go together, see for yourself. On October 5th, 2013, an unsuspecting tourist leaned a little too casually on the fence at Buckingham Palace. Probably just enjoying the view, he had no clue he was stepping into forbidden territory. But the Queen's Guard? He noticed right away. Without a hint of hesitation, he marched over, his presence commanding attention, and in a voice that left no room for doubt, he thundered, "Get off the fence!" And here's where the magic happens. The guard didn't just unleash his fury and walk away. After the initial shout, he took a step back, looked the tourist in the eye, and with an unexpected calmness said, "Stay away from the fence, sir." It was as if he'd reset himself to polite mode, reminding everyone that the Queen's Guard is all about respect as much as it is about authority. The tourist, however, was visibly shocked. It's almost comical. Did he really think the guard wouldn't notice him there? Maybe he thought he'd get away with it, but Buckingham Palace has its
That's their job, to notice when people are effing around. That's their entire reason for being there.
rules. The calm authority mixed with a fierce command in that moment shows why messing with them is never a good idea. After all, in some places, intrusions like that would lead to far harsher responses. 4. Don't stand in their way. When will people learn that standing in front of the royal guards is the ultimate rookie mistake? There's always that one tourist who thinks they've found the best spot, right in the path of a regimented line of soldiers, completely unaware of the no-stopping policy
They should just walk right into him and knock him over.
these guards follow to the letter. This one family was thrilled to finally be at the castle, eager to witness the famous Scots Guards in action. They'd heard stories about the ceremonial marches and decided the best way to catch it all was right up front.
I really like those uniforms with the high collar and everything.
With the father carefully positioning the stroller with their baby, little did he know they'd chosen the absolute worst spot, directly in the guard.
Okay, I take it back. He has a baby in his stroller. I don't want him to knock him down, but he needs to be a little more aware of where he is.
Guard's path. As the guards approached, completely unfazed by the family in front of them, this family watched them with fascination. The soldiers marched in perfect formation, showing no intention of sidestepping or slowing down for anyone.
Oh, good
That's-
for them. Good for them.
That's when it dawned on the father that they were in the way. Just then, the lead guards spotted the baby and shouted, "Make way!" Honestly, they should feel lucky. These soldiers don't stop for anything or anyone. The guards' unwavering focus and determination to stay on course is something they're trained for, no exceptions. Yet, when the lead guard caught sight of the baby in the stroller, he made the rare call to warn them. 3. Royal Guard's rage. What do you think? Is it too much when a royal guard raises his voice, or even his weapon, at tourists? Picture this. You're at Buckingham Palace, soaking in the grandeur, and just as you lean in for a closer look, one of the famous royal guards suddenly steps forward, voice booming, and signals with his rifle for everyone to back off.
Oh, I've never seen one where they pointed the gun right at them. But that's great. Like, I'll admit I'm a little bit I push the boundaries a little bit when I'm in touristy spots to try to get, like, I'm not worried about getting shots and stuff for content. I'll do the best I can with what I have and move on. But like, to just make sure I see or make sure like my child sees. So I would probably be the person leaning in a little bit, not realizing that might be too much, but I probably wouldn't do it at Buckingham Palace though, because I'm not an idiot. That's where the royals are. Like, duh.
This exact scenario unfolded recently, and while some people were quick to call it an overreaction, it's really worth considering the guards' perspective. Royal guards aren't there for entertainment. They're on duty to protect one of the most famous and important buildings in the world. These guards train rigorously, and their focus is not on amusing tourists, but on staying vigilant.
That's the thing I think a lot of people just don't freaking get, is that this is their job. This is what they're trained to do. This is just like from an American's perspective, this is like seeing a Marine outside a building. Like you wouldn't go up to a Marine outside of an embassy building or something and start effing with them. You wouldn't. No American I know would start fucking with a Marine if they saw them. So why is it okay to do it in another country?
Prepared for anything. On this particular day, the guard had already politely asked people twice to step back.
It's the same guy from before.
But some visitors just couldn't resist
They might just be using some footage.
pushing their luck, probably thinking it's all part of the show. By the third warning, when his patience wore thin, he used his rifle as a firm reminder that this is a serious job, not a photo op.
This is how to get in shape fast.
If you want to drop this, start eating more of these. You might.
Imagine if a tourist tried to stunt at the White House. The response would likely be much more severe.
Dude, you can't even get near the White House anymore, okay? The White House has armed guards at the top of it, like army soldiers at the top of it, on top that have like sniper rifles. Then there's a huge fence that surrounds the entire grounds, not the house, the grounds around it. And then there's barricades, so you can't even get to the fence. You like most of the time you have to be across the street. You can't even get to the fence anymore. That's in America. Like you can't. Like I remember when we were at DC the last time, I couldn't even get a photo because I couldn't get close enough. It just looked like a dot. It didn't look like a dot. That's an exaggeration. But like you couldn't really get a good enough photo because of all the shit in front of it to protect it. So why would this be any different?
Here, the guard's reaction was a direct response to tourists testing boundaries. And while it might look harsh, it's actually a reminder to respect those who are on the front lines of security. So next time you're at Buckingham Palace, enjoy the view, but remember that these guards are there for real duty. Just because you're on holiday doesn't mean their work is on pause. 2. Don't touch the horse. This time we are talking about a woman who was eager to snap a memorable photo next to a Queen's Guard outside Buckingham Palace. But her experience took an unexpected turn. This blonde-haired woman confidently moved closer to the guard, who was mounted on a stunning black horse, thinking she'd get an amazing picture. But as she reached for the reins to pose, the guard let out a booming command. "Stand back from the Queen's lifeguard. Don't touch the reins." The woman, visibly startled, backed off in surprise, probably not expecting such a reaction. As we mentioned several times, the Queen's Guards are known for their stoic, unwavering presence, but they do have strict rules about personal space, especially when it comes to their horses. Horses can be unpredictable, and guards are trained to keep tourists at a safe distance to avoid any potential mishaps. However, the woman's close approach and her attempt to hold the reins crossed a line, leading to that loud and direct warning. The video...
Why wouldn't you just ask them? I mean, I know they can't answer, but I don't know. You're right. They can't answer, so that was a silly question. But, like, I don't know. I don't know anyone who is just that dumb anymore. Why are you that dumb? This is a universal world now. You don't know that this shit's gonna happen? You think you're gonna get away with it? Is it worth it? Dumbasses.
quickly went viral with mixed reactions. While some viewers sympathized with the woman, others pointed out that it's crucial to respect boundaries with the guards.
It's crucial to respect boundaries, period. You wouldn't go up to any other random animal and start playing with them and petting them. And if you do, you're an idiot. Because you don't know them, and they don't know you, and you don't know what they're capable of. So just, like, have some fucking respect.
After all, they're there to protect and represent, not pose for tourist photos. 1. Royal Guard pushes the tourist. Although the soldiers of the Royal Guard are used to people and their foolishness, one guard reached his limit on January 23, 2009, giving tourists a bit more action than they bargained for. Colombian student Nick Ibarra, 23, decided to have some fun outside St. James's Palace in London by mimicking the guard's stiff, formal march for a friend, recording the whole thing. What Nick didn't expect was that his light-hearted antics would quickly take a turn. As Nick matched steps alongside the guard, he probably thought he'd get the usual stoic reaction, or perhaps no reaction at all. Instead, the guard, who had seen enough, broke character, spun around, and went straight for Nick. Swiftly grabbing him by the collar, the guard gave Nick a firm clip on the head and even aimed a warning kick before pushing him away with his rifle. Nick and his friend Suzanne, who was caught between recording the chaos and fearing for their safety, decided it was time to run. Suzanne, who'd been recording the event, was shocked, exclaiming that her first thought was about the guard's loaded weapon and the possible bayonet attached. Understandably, she stopped filming in the middle of the incident.
Understandably. All right, guys. All right, I thought it would be funny. It wasn't funny. It was more horrific and baffling than anything. But freaking hell! You can't... Look, people in general have their limits, okay? And when you're in a situation where they have a weapon, why would you think that you're above anything else, that you can make fun of them, that you can touch them or their animal, that you can try to break them from what the job they're supposed to be doing? Either you're extremely dumb, extremely privileged, or extremely stupid. I can't think of another explanation. I'll go back to the theme of the reaction. What is wrong with you? Let's see what you guys think. Oof. Oh, I know what you're talking about, Sam. Yeah, yeah, I got you. Oh, Mick, let me see if I have time to find it. I'll see if I can find that. Since you suggested it. They cannot touch the reins as it can cause the horse to bolt. That makes total sense. And obviously it's the guard is responsible for the animal. So you can't, I would never just go up and touch an animal. I've never just go up and touch like the reins or touch a person. Just because they're a guard, you can go up and touch them, or it's like, people are dumb. The kids thing, like kids always test boundaries, right? But still, like if my kid ever did that, I'd be horrified. And that we would have a very, very private, stern conversation about that. And I would be reluctant to bring her to any other of those types of situations. At this age that she's at now, she's a teenager, I expect that she will do it or we leave. Like that's always been, you be respectful to where we are or we're out. I just I can't. Cult Fiction says those guys can be a bit more cheerful. You think? I don't think it's their job to be cheerful. I think it's their job to be stoic and just be observant. But you're right to your opinion. All right, I will show it, Manny. I agree with your comment on that, Manny. I guarantee the Oval Office. It's the Oval Office, not the Oval Room. But I'll let you go, Sam, since you're British. The Oval Office. I'm surprised it wasn't decked out in all gold, like appliques and shit, when he was there the last time. To be honest, he has a gold toilet in his apartment. Is that true, D. Scott? Welcome to the Cult Fiction, D. Scott. Thanks for joining. Welcome to the stream. Is they're actually like combat? Well, obviously they showed they're trained as combat soldiers, so be trained as well. But are they people who have been taken out of the conflict or have been they've served a tour and then they're in, or is it a special detail that they're assigned to? I don't know. It's a genuine question. I don't know the details of that. Hi, CJ. No, don't worry about being late. Thanks for joining. But you missed us watching crazy tourists trying to get reactions out of royal guards and finding out that wasn't a good idea. Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to convey, Sam, is especially American visitors. They think it's a game. They think it's a show. They don't think it's real. And that's why they act so obnoxious. But Americans should know better because we've seen those kinds of weapons. Like, we live in gun culture, so we know how easy it is to get hurt. So we should be even more respectful and on guard. Anyway. That's what I'm saying, Manny. You and I are on the same page with this. Don't come into my space. Don't come up and touch me. I remember when I was pregnant, a lot of people wanted to come, just came up and touched my belly, and I fucking lost it on them. Like, you wouldn't come up and try to touch me in any other situation. Why do you think it's okay for you to touch my pregnant belly? What's wrong with you? You don't just go into people's space and you don't, just assume anything because you're comfortable that everybody else is comfortable. Number one, that's just a common social, acceptable norm. It should be anyway. Secondly, they're doing a job. You might not agree with the job. You might think it's easy money. You might, for whatever your opinion of the job is fine. But that doesn't mean you have the right to go and disrespect them at their job. It'd be the same thing as me showing up at your office in a fucking chicken costume and singing at the top of my lungs and embarrassing you or showing embarrassing pictures of you. It's not right. You don't do it. So you should have the same respect. It's their job still at the end of the day, whether you agree with it or you think it's easy money or whatever your opinion is. You have a right to have your opinion about the job, but be respectful. They're still working. It's my opinion. They do detail serving operations and then royal detail. Okay. Yeah, they're serving, they're soldiers at the end of the day. So they do details, they actually serve, and they do operations, and then they do the royal detail, which are the guards. And then they spend part of the year in the ceremonial role, and the rest they spend in battles. Yeah, they've been around for hundreds of years. They're part of the armed forces. Again, I can only use the American version because that's my only other experience. But if I saw after 9/11, we had armed guards in every airport, in every train station. We had military everywhere after 9/11. And I remember when I flew to Miami with some friends, it was probably 6 months or so after the 9/11 attacks. There were armed guards still in the airport and everything. And I remember I was afraid to even just see them. It made me uncomfortable and tense just to see armed guards with rifles and automatic weapons as I'm boarding a plane. Okay? I would never just go up to them and just start messing with them. So I wouldn't do it to anybody else's guards either. I think it's just one of those things where people, like we were saying earlier, people think it's a show. Yes, that's what it is. Because the uniform looks so different from what we're used to as far as serious military, right? And they think it's a show. Anyways, I've said my piece. Moving on. Billy Coney, lonely on the bus, dwarf on the bus. You want to do dwarf on the bus, right? I love Billy Coney, so. Okay. Okay, let's go.
So anyway, my sister told me this. And she swears that it's true.
Okay, can we just... I love his pants. They're Beetlejuice written all over them, man. I freaking love it. Isn't it supposed to be a little person or something like that now? I'm not 100% sure. I think so. I know in America you're not allowed to say dwarf either. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I didn't want to sneeze over the joke. I did anyway. So sorry, you guys.
Be calling her a wee dwarf. She wasn't a particularly...
Yeah, the wee was probably unnecessary. When comedians like kind of break down, they're really chuffed about their material and they break down in the middle like that. I think it's really fun. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, I love it. You know what? She deserves that. I mean, normally I would not laugh at a joke like that, but she deserved that because she was so rude to that girl. You don't have to be rude and entitled like that. Like some people are just trying to be nice, you know? Oh, just fantastic. That was fantastic. I loved it. Love me some Billy Coney. That's fantastic. Brilliant. Yes, TJ, here's my thing, right? Like, you just don't do that. It's just disrespectful. That's my take. Humbug trousers. Those pants were amazing. Or are you making fun of the fact that I said pants? You might be. Yeah, I agree with you, Scott. D. Scott. My fishing buddy was in the Welsh Guards on duty at Buckingham Palace in 1982 when Argentina invaded the Falkland Islands, and 2 days later he was on a ship, Sir Galahad, on his way to the South Atlantic. I hope that he's okay. Oh, thank you, TJ. Appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Is that a sneezing joke? May the force be with you? Is that it's? I don't know. I've only ever heard that in a Star Wars reference. Russell Howard is just as funny. I'll have to try some Russell Howard. He is a gem. Billy Coney is a gem. He was on my list of my favorite British comedians. I love him to death. He's always hilarious. All right, y'all. That's it for me tonight. I was a little bit probably overly stern on the first video. That's why it took so long to get through. But hey, I did warn you I'm a bit grumpy today from being tired. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the stream. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, and I hope you guys join me again next week. We are live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. UK time. Please join us again. Thank you to all the new people that came. D. Scott and Cult Fiction, and Thomas Lee. I'm going to say Tomas, and then feel free to correct me if it needs to be pronounced differently. And everybody else that joined, you guys are fantastic, and I really, really I love doing this. You guys did put me in a better mood. I love doing the lives. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic week. Go check out the vlog from Sunday if you haven't seen it yet, and there's more content coming later on in the week. So consider subscribing if you haven't already. I appreciate it. And if you haven't hit the like button, please hit it on your way out. It really does wonders for the algorithm for me. It helps the rest of my content. I will see you all next week. Have a great one. Love y'all. Bye.